Welcome friends, to this video we're going to be learning how to scale or measure in perspective. This is going to be an important skill if you're wanting to draw things proportionally in perspective, say draw a person and foreshorten them. So what I'm going to do here, this technique works both in 1-point and 2-point perspective. I'll give a couple of examples as we go, and you're welcome to use Procreate on iPad. That's what I'll be using. It has some built-in tools, or you could use paper and pencil if you like. I'll start with a horizon line. So if I tap and hold, we can have a horizontal line. All right, now we're going to start with a reference image. The reference image is what we're gonna use to draw the rest of our scene. So let's say we're gonna pick a person. We could also pick an object or a building, but we're gonna use this example. We're gonna use a person that is roughly 6 feet. So I'll draw a vertical line here. We'll call this a 6-foot person. Now we want to draw a person off into the distance, say a block ahead of them, and then another person a block ahead of them. So we're just going to say pick somewhere right there, and how do we get the proportion of that person? So if I draw from the bottom of this one and connect to the bottom of this one, extend that on down to the vanishing point or to the horizon line, and then I come back from the horizon line to the top of this object, and now we can calculate what the height of this person is. And let's say we have another person here that's further into the distance. We can do the same thing, use those same guidelines, and now we have our next person. So let's imagine now that we have another vanishing point. Here's the other street corner. How do we get the people to reference over there? Well, we can actually just, if the person is directly the same distance, they're just moving on the x-axis or horizontal, they're not moving off into the distance, we can carry these straight across and we can calculate, or we can base the measurements off of those sizes. So same thing here, I will just carry those over the horizontal line. And then we now have our height. So all of these would be 6 feet in height in perspective. Okay, hopefully all of that makes sense. We can also, if we carry this line here back in perspective, we can do that. So we have figures in perspective. Now, what if we want to figure out if above the horizon line, let's say that this person here is on street level and we want to figure out somebody here that's in a 5-story building. So this would be street level, 1st story, 2nd story, etc. Well, how do we figure out if that person is up, elevated? They're still the same distance from where we are standing, but they're above the horizon line. So there is a nice built-in tool inside of Procreate. If you come up to the wrench and choose drawing guide and then choose edit drawing guide, you can add a perspective line here, and you can kind of make the symmetry lines. So if you take these lines here, you can draw those at the same angle above the horizon. Or what I'm going to use is the symmetry tool, and if I choose options and choose horizontal, and I'm also going to turn on the assisted drawing to help me out here, and then I'm going to move this horizontal line right where my horizon line is, and then I'll choose done. And then what I'll do is I will draw over the top of this vanishing point that I've created, and I'll draw over the top of this one here. And now I have, let's go ahead and turn that off now. Actually, I'll go back to perspective, turn off drawing guide, and now I have a similar grid above the horizon. So if I want, I can extend this person up here and this person up here and this one up here, and then I can move them across as well. let's go ahead and turn the symmetry back on. And I'm going to create my horizon lines at the top. So essentially, in a 1-point perspective, I've created all 4 quadrants that we can reference. So I'll turn this back off. And now I can create my new lines here. Like so. So imagine here you have a person standing here at the first block, second block, third block, and then across the street. And then if they're in, say, in buildings, in the first building, second building, third building, that would be their size as they go off into the vanishing point. All right, and so just as I was talking about, to make an example, if I go back into Edit Drawing Guide and I move this vanishing point over and I create a second vanishing point, what we can do, if I take a second vanishing point, you'll see that these are going to be the same in perspective. So it's roughly just over 2 grids there. Same thing here. It's going to be just over 2 grids there. Same thing here. Let's go to this one. Roughly 2 grids, 2 grids. That might be a little bit more difficult to see. So anyway, as you can see, whether or not you're in 1-point or 2-point perspective, as you can see, the key is to go from the bottom of your object to the bottom of your new reference, and then fade that to the horizon line, bring it back from the horizon line to the top of your reference, and then you can mark in the height. So hopefully that all helps. I know that this is somewhat complicated to grasp. If you're new at it, it takes some practice. I do have other videos on creating perspective grid and perfect size cubes, and I'll also be making more of these because my goal is to draw figures in perspective. So if you imagine that your arm is out in front of you as a rectangle, it's going to be foreshortened. So that is important to know perspective and how to handle. So if you're interested in those videos, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, and that way you can be notified of those videos coming out. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. So long.